Hello and welcome. Today we're diving into the story of OpenAI. It's a company that was literally founded to save humanity from AI, but somehow it's become a kind of global empire in its own right. So how on earth did that happen? Let's get into it.
So, the core idea we're exploring today is a pretty bold one, that the companies building our AI future are a lot like modern-day empires. And, just like the empires of old, they're often built on the backs of a global workforce that most of us never even see. And that really brings up two huge questions. First, how did a small nonprofit, OpenAI, turn into one of the most powerful companies on the entire planet? And maybe more importantly, as we all race towards this idea of AGI, that's artificial general intelligence, who's actually paying the price for all this progress?
To really understand the empire, you first have to understand the people who built it, right? The story of OpenAI is really a story about some clashing personalities and just monumental ambition. At its core, OpenAI's creation was a tug-of-war between two totally different philosophies, and co-founder Sam Altman was mentored by both. On one side, you have Elon Musk's worldview. He's deeply afraid of a rogue AI and wanted a non-profit to protect us. And then on the other side, you have Peter Thiel's philosophy, that competition is for suckers, and the only thing that matters is building a monopoly, a powerful empire.
And all of that ambition? It really comes together in Sam Altman himself. We're talking about a guy with intense drive. His competitiveness was apparently legendary even when he was a kid. His first company, Looped, just kind of broke even, and his own team tried to get rid of him for, they alleged, lying and being selfish. And this drive wasn't just about business. He seriously thought about running for governor of California, and even for president of the United States.
Elon Musk's reason for getting involved was simple. He was completely terrified. He put money into DeepMind early on, got into a shouting match with Google's Larry Page about the future of humanity, and when Google bought DeepMind, he saw it as a total disaster. So what was his solution? To create a nonprofit counterweight, an OpenAI, to fight what he saw as the potentially evil DeepMind. And that, right there, was the founding mission of OpenAI.
But look, an ambitious mission needs a seriously powerful engine. For OpenAI, that engine was built on a simple but totally world-changing belief in the power of scale.
The big technical idea that drove everything is something called the scaling loss. It was championed by their chief scientist, Ilya Sutskever, and the idea was almost deceptively simple. You could make an AI model smarter just by making everything bigger. More data, more computer chips, and more parameters. It was basically a brute force approach to creating intelligence. And just how big are we talking? Well, GPT-4 used 15,000 times more compute power than the original GPT-1. Their commitment to just going bigger was absolute.
But there was a huge problem. A nonprofit could never, ever afford the billions of dollars needed for that much computing. So they changed the game. They created this really unique for-profit subsidiary with capped returns, which they then used to land a game-changing $1 billion investment from Microsoft. Suddenly, the mission to save humanity had a bottom line.
Okay, so to feed this massive engine, they needed data, a mind-boggling amount of it. So they scraped Reddit, all of Wikipedia, a data set of pirated books, and in a move that even Google was too nervous to make, they transcribed over 1 million hours of YouTube videos. The great data land grab was on.
But this relentless push for scale, well, it came with some serious consequences. The empire, as it turns out, was built on hidden costs, both human and environmental.
And this, right here, illustrates the imbalance just perfectly. While ChatGPT was estimated to cost over $700,000 a day just to keep running, some of the human workers in Kenya who were filtering its most toxic content were being paid as little as $1.46 an hour.
And this wasn't just a one-off. OpenAI built its empire on a global network of low-cost labor. Data labelers in Venezuela, a country totally ravaged by crisis, and content moderators in Kenya were absolutely essential for teaching the AI and cleaning up its messes, often for just pennies.
The human toll was just immense. I mean, these workers were exposed to the absolute worst of what humanity puts on the internet. We're talking violence, abuse, hate speech, day in and day out. The psychological trauma was so bad that many of them had to seek professional help. And beyond the human cost, there's the environmental one. Data centers are just energy hogs. Back in 2022, they used 3% of the world's electricity. By 2030, that number is projected to leap up to 8%. The demand for power is just exploding.
And it is not just electricity. 12 million gallons. That's how much fresh water was used in Iowa in just 1 month for AI model training. To put that in perspective, that's about 6% of the entire district's water supply gone for a single facility.
So as the empire got bigger, so did the tensions inside it. And this all led to a dramatic 5-day battle for control that nearly ripped the entire company apart.
Honestly, it was a corporate drama for the history books. On a Friday, the board fires Sam Altman. By that weekend, Microsoft swoops in and offers to hire him and his entire team. The employees totally revolted, with something like 95% of them threatening to quit. And by the next Tuesday, the old board was gone and Altman was right back on the throne.
So why did the board even fire him? Well, their case came down to 3 main things. They claimed he was manipulative, that he was pitting his own execs against each other, that he tried to oust board members who challenged him, and that he just wasn't being honest with them about key issues.
But the employees? They did not see it that way at all. For them, loyalty was deeply connected to their finances. There was a massive deal in the works that was going to make a lot of them millionaires, and they believed Sam Altman was the only person who could actually make that happen. The fallout from all this was huge. Ilya Sutskever, the chief scientist who started the whole coup, he eventually resigned. Jan Leik, who co-led the safety team, also left, and he publicly said that safety had taken a backseat to shiny products. Then a whole scandal came out about these aggressive NDAs that could actually strip people of their equity if they ever spoke out.
And this really brings us full circle. Remember that original mission? A nonprofit that didn't need to worry about making money, totally dedicated to open research for the good of humanity. Well, today, OpenAI is a capped profit monster. Its research is a secret, and its main goal seems to be just crushing the competition.
Look, the AI race is moving faster than ever, and OpenAI is leading the pack. But as we've seen, this progress has been built on massive hidden costs, to workers, to our planet, and to its own founding mission. So the question we have to ask now isn't just who's paid the price so far, but as this empire keeps getting bigger, who's going to be next?